Welcome, my name is Salvador Rios, and today I will be giving you an overview on Chapter 6 in the Julie Smart textbook called the Disability Across the Development Lifespan. Today I will be talking about the behavioral theories of development from Ivan Pavlov, B.F. Skinner, and Albert Bandura. Maslow had a famous saying for studying behavior. Behaviorism is like exploring a continent with a microscope, meaning that there is too much information and detail to cover. According to behaviorist theorists, human behavior is subject to the laws of science and can be studied without reference to internal motivations. Behaviorists believe that the individual's development is closely related to the opportunities for learning that are available to that individual. Behaviorists thought that controlling or manipulating the environment made it possible to control human behavior by choosing the environment. Behaviorism is not a theory of human development, but rather more explicit on motivation because it states that any behavior that is reinforced will continue. Radical behaviorists such as Pavlov and Skinner began the development of their theories by performing their experiments on animals due to fewer ethical dilemmas when it came to controlling the environment. The other developmental behaviorists studied people in their natural environment. By understanding this distinction helps you understand behaviorism and its assumptions. In the past, it was also realistic to say that it was possible to observe behavior and not to observe the mind working. But with today's technology, it is possible to observe the structure of the brain through different imaging techniques, such as tomography scans and magnetic resonance imaging, also known as MRIs. Ivan Pavlov, a Russian psychologist, formed the basis for the behavioral theories. The theory of the Pavlovian learning responding conditioning, or also known as the classical conditioning, is based on an involuntary response and reinforcement stimulus. Involuntary responses are not automatic and include rapid heartbeat, sweating, or salivating. Responding conditioning is a form of learning through association, meaning that with previous neutral stimulus is paired with an unconditional stimulus, the neutral stimulus elicits a response. Pavlov came across classic conditioning unintentionally during his research into animals' gastric systems. While measuring the salivation rates of dogs, he found that they would produce saliva when they heard or smelled food in anticipation of feeding. This is a normal response which is expected to happen as saliva plays a role in the digestion of food. However, the dogs also began to salivate when other events occurred not related to feeding. By making sounds, for example, ringing a bell, to the dogs before feeding them, Pavlov proved that they could be conditioned to a neutral stimulus when being fed. Operant conditioning is a type of learning where behavior is controlled by consequences. Operant conditioning occurs when an individual performs a conscious behavior, for example, making breakfast. It involves with an individual learning a response. An operant conditioning reacts to environment or to stimuli in the environment. Human theorists state that humans are proactive, conscious, and behaviorists state that humans are reactive, unconscious. Skinner believed that operant conditioning occurred when a behavior produced consequences, and the nature of the consequence determined whether the behavior would continue or not. Some of the key concepts in operant conditioning are positive reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. Positive reinforcement is given a reward after behavior. This increases the probability that the behavior will continue. For example, having a job and going to work every day to receive a paycheck. Negative reinforcement is taking away something that's creating discomfort because of the behavior that is susceptible. This is also meant to increase the behavior. For example, at a store, a child throws a tantrum because he did not get a candy bar. Dad finally gets him one. He stopped the tantrum, so he took away something unpleasant, and the dad's behavior of getting candy bar will increase. Positive punishment is used to decrease a behavior and is presenting something unpleasant after a exhibited behavior. For example, when a student misbehaves in class, she receives a timeout. Negative punishment is also used to decrease a behavior and is removing something pleasant after the behavior. For example, Ted gets a $500 fine and suspension of his driver's license for driving under the influence. Money and his license were removed to decrease the behavior. Albert Bandura had the idea that respondent and operant conditioning were theories on performance and not theories of learning. Bandura's concept of reflective self-consciousness is the capacity to think on behavior and learn from others. People can control and change their behavior so that people continue to learn and go through many stages of life. Bandura believed that individuals watches others, learns about their consequences of their behavior, and then learns the new behavior without engaging. Albert Bandura broke down his theory into three: observational theory, vicarious reinforcement, and modeling and imitation. Observational learning means that the individual does not have to engage in specific behavior. For example, reading, listening, and watching others can result in learning. Observational learning requires a person who performs the behavior, demonstrating the way in which the behavior is performed and showing rewards gained as a result of the behavior. Vicarious reinforcement refers to the components of observational learning in which an individual observes the results of other actions. For example, seeing someone that receives awards or seeing someone punishment for their behavior can be either rewarding or punishing. Modeling and imitation are effective ways in how to learn the desired behavior. If there is no familiarity or capability of the behavior model, then the individual cannot benefit. A perfect example is watching a do-it-yourself video. They model on how to do a certain thing. Bandura's idea on self-efficacy is that it is a powerful, self-regulatory process. Self-efficacy is a belief concerning one's ability to perform behaviors and that the reward for a certain behavior will have a positive result. Coping behavior is the outcome of successful attempts to a certain obstacle or problems. According to Bandura, self-efficacy is similar to self-confidence, but self-efficacy is not based on the individual's actual capabilities, but rather on the individual's views or beliefs of his or her abilities. Self-efficacy impacts the individual in two ways: on how the individual attempts a certain behavior and on the quality of the performance of the behavior. Behavioral principles and techniques are used in different ways. For example, in treating anxiety disorders, depression, substance abuse, eating disorder, domestic violence, just to name a few. Applied behavioral analysis is based off Skinner's theory. The behavior from Skinner's research is single subject design that are used in medicine, education, and a variety of behavioral therapies. Skinner's theory has gained acceptance amongst professionals that work with people with disabilities. Skinner's theories are used to help individuals with their social skills, independence, and actions. Skinner's theory end goal is to reduce or extinguish maladaptive behavior. Self-efficacy, also referred as personal efficacy, is confidence in one's ability to achieve intended results. By determining the beliefs an individual may have, it might determine his or her power to change situations. It strongly influences both the power a person must face in a challenge and the choices a person is most likely to take to achieve his intended result. Bandura's self-efficacy is used mainly in self-identity. This helps people with disabilities in response to social and physical environments that is not always available to them. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time.